Hello and welcome to All About Billings. We are a show dedicated to discovering the people who make Billings a great place to work and live. We will interview local business people, entrepreneurs, artists, entertainers, and we will learn from them all about their successes, their challenges, and their connection to Billings. I'm your host, broker and owner at Billings Best Real Estate. And today it is my pleasure to have as my guest somebody who is all about wellness, but all about wellness naturally. Welcome to the show, Shannon Johnson with Creative
Light Wellness.
Light Wellness. I was going to say Creative Wellness Light and Massage.
And massage, yes. I own a massage school as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it has been so fun just visiting with you before the show. So let's start by talking about what is your business?
I own a natural wellness business, so it's called Creative Light Wellness. And I guess you could call it an alternative wellness practice. It's naturopathic practice, but it is traditional. So that means I use herbs, food, and actually frequency, sound, and light for any kind of improvement in health. And then I own a massage school as well, and that's called the Creative Light School of Massage Therapy. And I currently have an evening and a day class going, and we're doing student massages every Tuesday evening right now. So,
wow.
Yep, I'm a massage therapist as well, so I do body work as well as internal work.
So how did you get started? This is a very interesting line of work. You don't meet somebody with your credentials every day.
It's a very unique combination. My son, who's almost 19 years old, was born with a medical condition, and I didn't like how Western medicine was handling his care. And at the time, I was a young mom, and I was just full of enough, in vinegar, to decide I was going to try to heal my son myself. And so I started looking at alternative methods. And I started with essential oil, and I learned that essential oil is basically liquid light. It's measured on a light spectrometer, and so the frequency and vibration of oils they're the lifeblood of the plant, and they're actually what help a person heal. And they are the biblical medicines of the Bible, or ancient medicine. And so I started there. I took all the chemistry classes, I did all of the emotional release classes, learned how to do raindrop technique, and really just kind of heal the sick using that modality. And that was just the beginning. And then I got my license in massage therapy, and that opened the door for me to even do more. And somewhere along the line in there, I discovered I have a passion for it. And it no longer became just about healing my son, but about finding a purpose that I have in this life.
So what types of results did you see with your son? Was it encouraging?
Yes.
Did you find it surprising?
Very much so, actually. I didn't realize that there was a natural method out there for almost everything that I had ever learned on the counter side in Western medicine. One of the things I noticed is that my children stopped going to the doctor for sick visits. And I think in the course of 1 year's time, there was one sick visit between my kids and my husband and I at the time. We had one sick visit that year. And it was because we had diffusers going in the home and we were truly improving our immune systems. And that one snuck up on me because I just liked the smell. I was enjoying the learning process. I was using them on my kids. And before I knew it, when I kind of looked backwards, we were not sick anymore. We were very, very healthy. My kids to this day still use their oil diffusers. They use them every single day. And I don't think my kids have ever missed much school because they have always been very, very healthy. And so I've used natural methods in the home, like homeopathy. I've used herbs for my children just to keep them healthy. And of course, at one point in time, I learned about fast food and the dangers of eating food that's not real. And so I stopped eating out of a can or a box and stopped feeding my children out of a can or a box. So they were almost guinea pigs in a way as I was going through all this process, but they are extremely healthy, they're knowledgeable, and they eat very, very well.
Wow. And so were people surprised? I mean, so you didn't probably go back to the doctors that were treating your son?
Not very often. You know, we didn't go to a pediatrician a lot because I ended up taking over my children's care at home, and I know that that sounds a little concerning for some people, but you know, when your kids are not sick, there's no question. I got rid of fear a long time ago, and I didn't have fear that my kids were developing appropriately. I could tell that they were fine. I could tell they were progressing, you know, just like any child should. And I noticed that we just weren't as sick. And so my son ended up needing surgery, though. He had a structural issue, which is what we found out about 5 years later. So we dealt with his condition for a total of 7 years and managed it. And then he had to go to the Denver Children's Hospital for a surgery. So what's interesting is that I believe that there's a place for all types of medicine and wellness. And so he needed a very specific type, and it wasn't the kind that my attention was turned towards, but he was the spark. He was the catalyst that turned my attention to it. And then I realized how I could start helping other people through natural methods. And I got my Doctor of Naturopathy at that point, my Master Herbalist certificate. And I just went from there, and I continued seeking and continued educating myself. And almost 20 years later, here I am, and that's what I get to do every day. And it's one of my favorite things in life is to help people heal.
Well, and the other thing you mentioned is you're a doctor of quantum medicine. So
yes.
What does that mean?
Yes, I am a doctor of quantum medicine. So I use frequencies, harmonics, light, sound, and a lot of fun technology. Whenever people come into my naturopathic practice, they're pretty surprised to see all the gadgets and tools and things that I have, and they're really fun. Especially children. I have a lot of teenage clients actually, and they really like coming to me because I don't do anything like a Western medicine doctor visit. It doesn't feel like they're coming to the doctor. I'm using light to really help them. I'm using frequency and vibration to kind of bring them back into an optimal level of health, and it's fun for them. It's very superhero-like. But I have a lot of technology, and so I'm getting my PhD right now in integrative medicine from Quantum University, and that is where I'm learning a lot about subtle energies. I believe Einstein is credited as saying the future of medicine is frequency, and I am seeing that every day. I can administer a frequency subset to someone based on the frequencies of their voice. I get a 10-second sample of their voice, and I look at what the imbalances in their body are based on that. And it's extremely accurate, and that's what they're really shocked by. How can my voice show you what's going on in my body? There's a lot of other modalities like iridology that I can do as well. That's the study of the iris of the eye, which also tells you everything happening on the inside of your body. So our bodies keep the score. We've heard that saying before, and it's true. I don't have to be a psychic or a prophet. I understand the body, and I understand how to read it, and I know what the body is telling us. And so by giving it a subtle energy, we're able to lift the body's frequency to a point where it can then naturally heal itself, just as it's designed to do.
So if I come to you and you're listening to my voice, what sorts of things might you identify? Let's say, you know, I don't know that I have any issue particularly. I'm not sick, I'm not injured that I'm aware of.
Yep.
So what kinds of things can it identify?
So it identifies first and foremost musical notes, and that's where music comes in as a very we know music and mathematics is considered a language, right? Our bodies speak those languages, and we have musical notes that go a little bit off the harmonies that we are built on as organic humans. And so it is tied into emotions. So there is an emotional root to all physical imbalances in the body. So I actually get a report pulled up that show any of the imbalanced emotions. There's 4 in total that I get, and the first 3 are the ones that people are most aware that they let out into the world, and the 4th one is the one that people bury the most or think that they're burying the most. And it shows a connection point to the vitals, like vitamins or anything that's related to that could help support that symptom or that emotion. And it also shows where in the body it is physically affecting you. So it could be the quad muscles, it could be your nervous system, it could be the intestines or the digestion or something. And then I give them suggestions on how they can balance that. But I also play a song that is built with a frequency subset that is built specifically for their imbalances to balance them. So they're listening to vibration and frequency. I'm putting the vibration through their skeletal system through bone transducing headset. Then I have them wear colored lenses on their eyes to balance them through their optic nerve as well, because colors have different frequencies that will help with that balancing process. So now I've got them in sound. I'm covering their eyes and balancing them through that. And then I imprint water molecules with frequencies of certain homeopathics that their body is saying that it is needing for balance. And then they drink that medicine, which is just imprinted water with frequency, and they can do that right there. They don't have to go and buy a homeopathic with all the little pills and stuff in it. They can just drink the water and it does the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what do people experience? So, I mean, I'm sure one of the things, like everybody's heard of this. People are angry and then they get ulcers, or they can get heart disease, or, there's probably maybe arthritis. I don't know.
Yep.
I'm just...
Absolutely.
In my mind, that's what I imagine somebody who's angry.
Yes.
So you identify that, and then they do your therapy at the office. And then what kind of response is it? Is it like an immediate thing? Is it like something they have to continue to work on?
For some people, it is immediate. What we typically do, because it is such a comprehensive report, there's the emotion report, but there's also a completely comprehensive report from food sensitivities to gastrointestinal issues to meridians and chakras and all of the organs in the body. Anything that is out of balance comes up on this report. So at the very end, after I've delivered that vibration and the frequency and the colored lenses, we create a plan that's built specifically for them. So that's another place where I differ. I don't look at symptoms and say, oh, that fits this exact category, so you have this thing. I don't diagnose at all. But what I look at is I look at the systems of the body and I see which systems are out of balance and how we can bring them back into balance. 9 times out of 10, I recommend a detoxification for the person, because they've either never detoxed before and never cleaned themselves out, and their internal environment is just toxic, or we create a plan for whatever their imbalances look like, whether it's hormonal. I had one lady who had chronic migraines. In fact, she came to see me the day that a migraine was starting. And after I played her song and gave her the lenses, it never took root. So she never did get the migraine that day, and it really helped her balance. So we created a plan of how we could cleanse her system and try to see if, once we get everything cleaned out, let's take another look and see if it was just detoxification that made everything out of balance, or what's left now that we've got the body cleaned out. So I usually start with detoxification. People report less pain in their joints because my tea, it's an herbal tea detox, and when I hand pack that myself and create that for them, and it really cleans out all of the lymph fluid in the body. It really is a great liver flush. And when we're cleaning out those pieces, which is the body's natural detoxification or toxin breakdown system, then they see a lot of their issues go away. So no more pain in the joints. A lot of people with arthritis will say they have 98% relief from that. Yeah, I was shocked by that number too. But people will call me and say, I need another tea cleanse, because they felt so good on it. It cleanses the fog. My own mom said to me, this is weird, but I feel like my vision got brighter. And I said, you're not wrong, and it's not weird, because it is what we call the brain fog. And toxins do that. It dulls all of our senses. It dulls our ability for sight. So we're returning and restoring energy to the body, and we're cleaning it out in a way that people have forgotten what it feels like to feel that good. And one of my favorite things to do is take someone with no issues that they're currently working on, someone that is in great health, and see how can we even make that optimal. So I don't want just people who are feeling sick and yucky. I want to see people who are feeling awesome too, and say, how much better can this look?
Well, and a couple of things, like we were talking before the show, you hear about these detoxes and you go, oh, your liver detoxes. But there are so many things in our environment these days that we absolutely don't have the capacity to run it through our system. So like we're talking heavy metals, we're talking, environmental pollutants, we're talking things in our food.
Yes, even 5G, fluorescent lighting. There's a lot of stuff in our modern world that it's all around us. It's in our soil. It's in the air now. It's almost like we're outnumbered. But what I usually tell my clients, and what I'm seeing a lot, is first of all, we don't fear this. We do what we can because our body's equipped to handle quite a load. We're beautifully designed and perfectly created to detox. In the modern world, we might need a little help. So what I usually will say to them is you need a regular detoxification schedule. So you don't need to go and spend hundreds of dollars on detoxes. In fact, I have so much pill fatigue for people right now. And as a practitioner, I want to try to get people to not have to take another supplement. What can we do to simplify this process, get you cleaned out, and not put you back on, 60 pills a day? Because that I don't think is necessary. I think people they know something's out of balance or something's wrong with them, so the first thing they see, they're like, oh, I better get that. And then before you know it, they've got 16 things and they don't know what's helping, they don't know what to do, they forget they bought that thing. And I'm like, you need to just relax and trust that you're going to be led to the right thing. And that's where I usually come in. I like to partner with people. I am not someone that tells people what to do. It's a decision we make together. I educate, the client decides. But really, it's not about doing all of the things all at one time. It's finding what's going to work. So I do one thing at a time. And we try to figure out together what that's going to look like. And we create a plan and follow the path. And so I tell people, you got to hang out with me a lot, but it's fun, and I'm with you as long as you want me to be, and I am here and dedicated to helping you find your answer.
Well, it must feel like a relief, and we all have met people with chronic problems that aren't diagnosed. And I know when I was young, I had swelling in my knees, swelling in my ankles, and nobody could tell me what was wrong with me. So they diagnosed it as rheumatoid arthritis, which just basically means swelling in your joints.
Right.
It's like,
which is inflammation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did some things back then and it went away. But I just wonder how many people are just looking for some solution. Like,
Yes.
I've got this ache, I need help.
Yes.
And doctor, please help me. But a lot of times, there's not an easy answer. I mean,
Right.
Lyme disease is an example. I have a neighbor who has Lyme disease, and he has really gone through the ringer with it.
I've helped quite a few people with Lyme, actually, and I see things a little bit differently because I'm not looking at the chemical complexity of it. I see the body as a balance of systems. So I don't think there's anything wrong with people. I think they're just out of balance. And so it's about restoring balance. So it does kind of seem simpler to me, and I've helped a lot of people through Lyme. There is a way through it, but it's not what is commonly taught. And I feel like that's what I fight these days, is the mindset, because everyone is so conditioned towards Western medicine.
Right.
They believe that's the only way, and it's really difficult to get people to think a different way might be okay. It's called cognitive dissonance, and I think a lot of people experience that when I say something that's completely off the path. For example, with Lyme, I believe that to be of a parasitic nature. We know that's what it is, actually, if you really look at how it enters the body. How many Western medicine practitioners are treating Lyme with parasite cleanses? And who's looking at the cleansing system of the body? Are we getting rid of the critters? Because that's in my practice, I not only give them a tea detox to clean them out in general, and it's a basic mild detox, but then after that, it's like, do we need to do a parasite cleanse? Do we need to cleanse your blood? Do we now need to relieve the heavy metals? And there is a process to doing that. But again, when somebody doesn't know, they need to partner with somebody who's willing to walk with them through that journey and help them along the way. And I know that it's difficult with financial resources and everything because someone like myself, I won't be covered by insurance, and that's too bad. I try to keep my costs very low so that people can still get help. People are not paying me any more than they would pay for their copay plus their their 20% typically. And I have a lot of different modalities that I offer. Some of them are $25 and some of them are $150. So it really ranges. And I also do a lot with emotions. I'm an emotion code practitioner, and that's an energy technique, and I release stored and pent up traumas that someone has taken into their body, and it's kind of like wadded up energy that pinches the meridian pathways. And when those are blocked, our body is not receiving that vital energy that allows the body to do its own healing, so we get stopped. And then we're out of balance, we feel like something's wrong, but we get typically diagnosed with, oh, you have depression, here's a pill. Well, not necessarily. We can just remove those things that were stored up, and you don't even have to talk about it because I'm not a counselor. We can just remove it, energetically speaking. And I just did one today, in fact. And I probably have had some of the best results physically with my energetic emotion code practices, because the body can physically process once you release that wadded up energy.
Well, and you know, it's interesting. I do see a chiropractor, and one of the things that she told me is basically a lot of the problems with backs, unless you've had an accident or something, is related to stored trauma.
Yes.
And I'm like, but I really didn't have anything particularly traumatic. I mean, you know, when I was growing up.
Sure.
I mean, everybody has something.
Yeah.
But it's almost like micro traumas can add up too.
Exactly.
And so even though you think, well, gosh, you know, I wasn't abused as a child, I you know, didn't have any, I wasn't left alone, I wasn't abandoned, doesn't matter.
Right.
You have those micro traumas that are a part of it. Maybe somebody neglected you and you took it in too hard.
Yes.
And it wasn't that big of a deal if you look at it now.
Right.
But
and
your little
as
body
children,
didn't know.
how do we know what's really horrible? It's in that moment of our life, the way we received it and the way we digested our world in that moment. So there's common emotions. We can absorb them from other people. So if you are an empath and you absorb things, and as a child you didn't realize that was your gift, you can absorb an emotion from another person and keep that, you know, that emotional baggage for years and years. We can share it with someone, and that keeps us connected energetically until we remove that. And once I remove it from my client, it removes from the person they're sharing it with too, because that's what is keeping them linked. It can be inherited, it can be prenatal, it can be preconception even. And so there's a lot of different ways that we take that in at all stages, right from conception, and even from our ancestors. You know, we know that we can have things inherited, right? And this earthen suit might die, but energy never dies. So we are still connected to those ancestors. So if there is terror, let's say, is one of the emotions that I personally removed from myself, it went 5 generations back, and I knew, you know, which grandparent, which great-grandparents, et cetera, that it came through on what side of the family, and I released it not only from me that day, but from those 5 ancestors from those generations as well. That's when it gets really cool. And then you kind of watch how your body shows up differently and how things just change in your world. You don't take them in the same way because we cleaned part of the screen. It's like the screen on a door. When you clean that screen, you can see through it a little bit better. And every time I remove those emotions, the screen gets more clear and you get a little bit lighter.
Well, and it seems to me that while we're living longer, a lot of us are living longer not at an optimal quality of life.
Yeah.
That's what I see. I see people who are 60 or 70 and are really, really old for 60 or 70, even though they might live another 10, 20 years.
Yes.
So the modern medicine is keeping us alive longer, but it's not really working on the quality of life in general, of course.
Right. I agree. And I think that a lot of our choices, you know, with alcoholic beverages or smoking habits or just little things like that, that can cause the free radical damage and cause us to prematurely age. I have a lot of people surprised when I tell them how old that I am because they have me a whole decade younger than I actually am. And it's really just because I take good care of myself. I don't put anything on or in my body that is not clean. Right down to us ladies like to put chemicals and stuff on our skin. 168 chemicals is on average how much women are putting on their skin every single day.
Wow. From
cosmetics to perfume to shampoos and lotions. And I don't put anything on or in my body that I know is not clean, because that'll enter your bloodstream in 26 seconds once you put it on your skin. So being aware of those things, what cleaning products are you using in your home? I just had a set of clients with a pretty serious diagnosis that I had them convert their entire home because the diagnosis was that serious. And I said, if you want a chance, I'm going to ask you to act pretty radically, and I want you to convert your entire home and get rid of the chemicals that are equal to smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, and there is a study that shows that. So the Lysols and the Cloroxes and the stuff that you can buy that have chemical in them. If you have to have a safety cap on it, it probably shouldn't be in your house. There's plenty of other options out there. So converting the home and making sure we're not surrounding ourselves with those things. That's just the same as the 5G and the fluorescent lighting and the soil that our food's grown in. So it's being aware of every single thing that might have a chemical in it.
Wow.
Yep. It's a lot.
It seems overwhelming.
Yeah. But
So-
I do it in a way that they can do it one at a time. I mean, if they can't convert their whole home right away, we start with one room together. Can we convert your kitchen first? Can we then do the bathroom? Right down to even putting water filters on the shower heads. I mean, we convert the entire home, because when somebody has a severe diagnosis that they want a chance to reverse, and I actually do believe everything can be reversed, and I know that is not the popular decision, but I'm pretty radical in my belief, and I believe we can, and I have seen it. I actually have walked with a woman, this was long ago now, who had liver cancer, and in about 5 months' time, she was declared completely healed. There was no cancer. It dissolved all the way. The doctors could not figure out what happened. When she told them, they just dismissed it. And I will tell you, I will never forget that experience when you walk with somebody who's about to have 3/4 of their liver cut out, and then they don't have to because you helped them with just essential oils. You know,
Wow.
That was all that I used at the time, because this was a long time ago before I knew what I know now. And I'll never forget that experience, and I'll take it with me forever, and no one can take it from me. I believe things can be reversed, because it used to be you couldn't say cancer and liver in the same sentence and believe that somebody could survive it.
Right.
And I lived through it with her. And it was a feeling like I've never had before. And I think that's part of why I feel this is my purpose in life, because I'm addicted to that feeling. Like, I want people to have their healing so bad, because I know what that feels like to even share it with someone. And I love witnessing it. It's like nothing else.
Wow. Well, and so how can people get a hold of you if they're interested in finding out more about your services?
So creativelightwellness.com is my website. I am on Instagram and Facebook at creativelight16. And my school and practice are located in Alpine Village off 16th Street in Billings here. So, and you can Google me too. I'm everywhere.
Well, it just seems really cool to have so many different ways that you can work on healing. And from what I'm hearing, you can start slowly. You can start with, maybe you have a little ache or something. Start with that.
Yep.
Maybe you do some detox, do some of your light therapy,
Yeah.
some essential oils.
Absolutely.
And then build from there. So it's not like you have to do everything all at once.
I don't want you doing everything all at once. I believe in kind of slow rolling, because we didn't get to the point we're at overnight. And we need to allow the body its own time to heal, and sometimes that takes some months. I have a current 15-year-old client that we have been working since August, and it takes at least 4 months to change a tissue. We finally just got confirmation from a test that he had that his tissue has actually improved. And we've been working together for, I guess since August, so it's been a little over that. And we're starting to prove that this slow process that we've been taking is gaining ground. And they are thrilled in that family, I will tell you that. I'm so happy to be on this journey with them, and we're just going to keep going until it's complete healing.
Well, that is awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Shannon. And everybody, thanks for joining us on All About Billings, and we hope to see you next time.